Good evening, campers, and welcome aboard the Starship Nightwish. I'm Commander Exorcist, and we have just finished the most recent Frontier Unlocked. That's the new way that Frontier is showcasing their products. And so instead of doing individual streams for each of their product lines, they're doing kind of a combined stream that showcases everything. And so, yeah, we just got a little bit of a look into what I think is a complete revamp in the future of design for Elite Dangerous. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. I'm going to kind of go over some of the stuff that they went off, show a little bit of footage, and so obviously with these videos, as I promised, whenever I do either a live stream wrap-up or I share something that's kind of like the partner exclusive stuff, heavy spoilers, and you get one warning. So if you're not interested in learning what was talked about, or kind of hearing my my rant and rambling about it, this is the point to stop, to be honest, because when I click the button and we move on to the next page, there are no sacred cows, nothing is secret, it's all out in the open, and we're going to talk about it, okay? So, fair warning, here we go. Let's get to the topic at hand, which is the hotly awaited Python Mark II. Now, when I saw this thing, when they sent out the initial design, it's beautiful. I love the new design. And it's pretty obvious that they're going for a revamp in the design language of ships now. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what, or at least what Frontier is presenting for the Python. They'll talk a little bit about what I think the community might do with it. But you'll see here, I'm going to go through these bullet points here. These are some stuff that Frontier actually released to us to kind of give us a breakdown of what they're working on as far as the Python. And I got to be honest, this is awesome to get this level of information on a product that's in development. This is some really cool stuff to know, kind of the behind the scenes and thought processes of the developers. So we're going to go through this. So now this first bullet, I edited a little bit because they put out this like presentation of the Mamba and the FDL being like the best PvP ships. And, you know, we're talking about a community that has taken cruise liners and turned them into death machines. So, you know, if you want to argue about PvP ships and PvE ships and which is the best, it really depends on the skill of the commander, what they're willing to put into it. And obviously, there's some that have more advantages than others. So, but basically, they've created the Python Mark II to compete with the Mamba and the FDL. So, you want to think about the Python Mark II as fast. That's what they really want to focus on, is speed. When you look at it, you think race car, you think fighter jet, stealth bomber. There's something that goes fast and is hard to catch. So they specifically designed it to compete with what they view as some of the best PvP ships out there, the Mamba and the FDL. Obviously, it'll be multi-role capable. All ships in Elite are. Some excel at things, you know, better than others. But the primary role for this thing is PvP, player versus player. They're encouraging commanders to get out there and fight each other using this ship. So that's kind of an interesting approach, I think. You know, they want people to get out there and engage in combat with each other. And so that's pretty cool. I think that really kind of shows that that this will have a lot of customization options. If they're willing to say that this is a really good ship for you to go out and shoot your friends with, you know, I think that they've probably put in enough for us to be able to make minor tweaks here and there to get that edge that we would need to come out on top of our buddies. However, Power Play 2.0, which is something they talked about in the last Frontier Unlocked, and they mentioned a little bit about it here. We still don't know very much as far as the specifics on it. However, it looks like PvP is going to be a huge part of that, which is really interesting. And, you know, there's always been kind of the argument of open versus solo. You know, there's some people that think that people should only play in open, which is a little ridiculous. It's nice to have the choices, but, you know, this looks like kind of a push by Frontier to get people out of solo and into the open game so that they can compete and participate with other commanders. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, especially when you get to, people whose entire existence is centered around just finding commanders in dark places and taking them out. It's worth noting that the internal configuration is not complete. So one of the reasons that we haven't heard much about the ship is they haven't finalized the module layout. So if you hear somebody saying that it's got this landing pad size or this configuration, that configuration, the only thing we can verify for sure is it has 6 hard points and 6 utility mounts. This thing is going to be a beast. It's going to be a beast. So I was kind of surprised, though. They did specifically mention that when you first buy it and you first fly it, it's going to feel weird. So, which, I mean, the first time I flew a couple of different ships, I had kind of that same experience. So going from an Asp Explorer to flying an Anaconda, an unengineered Anaconda, is a really jarring experience. So I can understand, a little bit about this, but I just thought it was really strange that they specifically mentioned this as almost a bullet point, that when you get it, kind of the stock Python will feel a little weird, but once you get it configured the way you want it, it should be a smooth ride. Kind of like buying a new car. When you buy a new car and you have to kind of like set the radio the way you want and get the lights set the way you want and get the seat set just the right comfort level. I think it's something along those lines. So really interesting stuff there. And so moving on, they talked a little bit about the design philosophy. And this is where I say that I think we're seeing a shift in the overall design philosophy for Elite and for ships going forward, because it's the inspiration for this is obviously taken from modern fighter jets. I mean, you look at the thing and it's got F-35, F-22, it's got B-1 stealth bombers, it's got all of these things written all over it. And so it's taken a lot of inspiration from, stealth and modern military technology, which makes sense because we are in the middle of a war. And so when you have a war that's going on, military technology tends to make huge leaps in its quality, and you'll see technological innovations like this where stealth and speed may not have been a thing in the past, but now it is. So, and like I said, they very heavily leaned on the whole, we want to go fast. Like you need to know that this is a fast ship, or at least when you look at it, you think, gotta go fast. So, I'm going to read this very specific line. I was going to try to cut this down, but I thought this was really interesting. This is direct from Frontier, word for word, what they sent. The older Falcon de Lacy ships used an original wireframe code to retain elements from previous design, but the Python Mark II marks a development of the de Lacy aesthetic. So they've obviously changed their aesthetic. They're making some improvements, which is sleeker, smoother, and more refined, making use of advances in concepting, modeling, and rendering. So, this is a new way. This ship seems to be rendered and designed a different way than anything else that we've seen in the game so far. So, I mean, it's an opportunity for us to. It's a whole new experience, it sounds like. And then the yellow part here, I highlighted. This new development of the Falcon de Lacy design philosophy will be used moving forward in any potential future ships from the brand. I think that from the brand is kind of a gotcha, because I don't buy that. I think that this new development and this new way of thinking, this new technology design is probably going to be used going forward across the board. It's really interesting. I'm happy that they're focusing on de Lacy, because that increases the chances of yours truly getting an Anaconda Mark II. That would be really sweet. But yeah, so I'm really excited about this part because it shows that Frontier is willing to move and modify themselves and kind of grow in their development and design philosophies. So what this essentially is saying is that they've created kind of a development and design language for ships going forward. Like the old ships were just kind of, hey, we need a ship, so we got a chieftain, let's throw in a challenger, like just make a couple of changes to it. Or the absolute worst offender, the Asp Explorer versus the Asp Scout. Let's just take a couple of engines away from it and make it a terrible ship. So, with this one, it's kind of like you're building a base and a language for the design. So we know if it's a Falcon de Lacy ship, these are the elements that we expect out of it. This sleek design, smooth, and it kind of puts de Lacy in a competition with Gudamaya. So that'll be interesting to see de Lacy competing with the Imperial brand. So the new look allows thrusters and hardpoints to stand out, which means that Frontier is focusing heavily on engine and hardpoint details. So to some people, that may not be a big deal, but the details matter to a lot of us, especially when it comes to our guns. Guns on ships and guns in our hands. The details matter. The little logos and the screws and the warning labels and everything, all of that stuff matters. And so by changing the way that they're doing the designs for these ships is going to allow them to kind of emphasize a lot of these things more going forward. And I like this part. It also provides a larger canvas for customization, paint jobs, and ship kits. They're going to look great on it. That's from Frontier. That's their thing. They say that it's going to look good. It probably will. It's a really sharp looking vehicle. I'm hoping it's not. I don't think it's going to be a giant ship. I don't think it's going to be any bigger than the Python, the current version. I look for it to maintain pretty much the same size. But having 6 hardpoints and 6 utility mounts, that thing is going to be a beast. And, options for customization and opportunities to use it for a variety of different things. And that's the cool part, is that, yes, when Frontier creates these things, when they create a ship for Elite Dangerous, or when you create any kind of asset like this, you have to give it a purpose. And so somebody can look at this ship and go, oh, you know what, that's not a PvP ship, that's a miner, or that's a cargo ship, or that's an explorer. And the thing is that there has to be a designated purpose for it. So Falcon de Lacy can come out and say, hey, guess what? We got the Python Mark II. It makes a great tool for blowing your friends up. That's the purpose of it. Doesn't mean you can't take it and use it to scan flowers in deep space, but they got to come up with some kind of reason for it existing. And so this one looks like that it's going to be focused heavily on commander-to-commander interaction and power play. I'm really curious how that's going to fit in with power play. But, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But good live stream, good stuff. It was nice to see a little bit more of the ship, a little bit more about what they're working on, and hopefully here very soon we'll start to hear a little bit more about maybe power play, some more details on it. And I think that once we do, some of the design decisions and the function of stuff like the Python Mark II will start to make sense. So, and that's about all we've got today. Hey, everybody, these are the Disciples. If you would like to contribute and help support this channel, patreon.com/Commander Exorcist is your stop. You get special videos, behind-the-scenes access, and a few other goodies, an opportunity to support my work here. And it looks like that is all we have. It's a good live stream. I'm really impressed with the flow of information on Elite. In the last 60 days, we've got more insight into the development, design, release, implementation of these concepts than we've got. I can't ever remember it being this open. And even if some of this stuff didn't come to fruition, it's at least showing us their thought process. These are the things we're working on. And so it's really, really refreshing to be part of that, to see that happening and to be part of sharing it with you guys. So, hey, everybody, if you like regular Elite Dangerous content, I do Talking Head videos every Tuesday, and then Out There is on the weekends. So a couple other playthroughs for different games and Elite Dangerous. So this is your channel. Give me a like and subscribe. The little I think there's a floating head in the corner screen down here somewhere. And, the subscribe button and a little bell. I'd appreciate it. So that's it. We'll have to see what happens, but I think we're in good hands. And it'll be really cool to see what our community does with the Python Mark II, because you're going to have somebody blowing up everybody that they come across, and somebody out there is going to be hauling bio waste and making a fortune with this thing. That's just how Elite goes. Hey, everybody, I'm Commander Exorcist. Take care, fly safe, and I will see you out there. Good night.